A private meeting between French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz took place last Thursday. The informal conversation was said to be about policy toward China. But what particularly caught the eye were the French president's words in an interview with The Economist. The French president announced plans for a federalist European Union. I will tell the truth. We have a Franco-German agreement with Chancellor Scholz to move to qualified majority voting on two major issues that still require unanimity, namely taxes and foreign policy. The principle of unanimity is one of the cornerstones of the functioning of the European Union. It guarantees respect for the rights and freedoms of all member states. Now this basis is under threat. Introducing this principle as an institutional principle, it will blow the European Union apart, not unite it politically in the long term. The ideas of the Eurocrats are also supported in Poland. New left politicians have openly made the demand to get rid of the veto right. We will fight for the abolition of the veto principle in the next term of the European Parliament and the European Commission. The changes to the European treaties pushed by German MEPs were already announced several years ago by Chancellor Scholz. Polish President Andrzej Duda spoke about the dangers of limiting the sovereignty of nation-states. There are disturbing trends toward federalization, and there is talk of changes to treaties that will limit the sovereignty of member states. Our presence in the European Union is the Polish raison d'etat, but we stand for a Europe of free nations, a Europe of homelands. Law and Justice has said from the very beginning that it does not agree with turning the European Union into a state. Donald Tusk also declares his opposition, but it is his European political family that authored the idea of centralizing the Union. Moreover, it is his Minister for European Affairs, Adam Szłapka, who, despite the obvious evidence, says there is no indication of federalization and attacks the president.
To jest propaganda.
This is propaganda. This is also disinformation. Because talking about federalization or treaty changes today, there is no such topic at all. The topic is there, of course. That's why the European Parliament elections in June are so important, which will perhaps determine whether the European Union will be a superstate with its capital in Berlin, or perhaps a Europe of many nations. We must remember that the Poles decide, not Donald Tusk. Poles decide whether to give up such an important element of sovereignty. And this is what we are fighting for. This campaign is about showing what that means. Without a doubt, Germany would gain the most from turning the European community into a superstate. For years, Berlin did business with Moscow, such as the Nord Stream gas pipelines, which fueled the Russian economy. When the full-scale war in Ukraine began, Germany paralyzed European aid and was itself unable to effectively transfer several thousand helmets to Ukraine. Had Germany's federalist plans been carried out 2 years ago, it is unclear whether Ukraine would have continued to defend itself effectively. Paweł Błoch, TV Republika.